If one of the RAM sticks in this is bad, I'm be mad. Does it need internet? Kinda doubt it. Do I need a PCMCIA card in there? I do have a couple options. I have a USB 2.0 card. I have this D-Link Air Plus Extreme G 2.4 gigahertz high-speed wireless card bus adapter. Fancy words for wireless PCMCIA card. Yeah. Let me try restarting the install. Like reinstalling this by doing fdisk. Because I have my suspicion that actually, let me go into BIOS and see if I can disable USB. And I think BIOS on this is F2. Okay. So, BIOS. What you need to do is, you need USB disabled. External pointing device. Okay, so maybe you just need USB disabled. Maybe you just didn't like USB. And I shut that off just so you could plug in my PS2 keyboard. Because my guess is that it just didn't like USB. Which, it's not that big of a sacrifice if I have to give up USB on this. Really all I give up is if it fails again this time, my suspicions is that it just does not like, if it doesn't fail this time, then it has to do with USB. And it's locked up. Well, I'm going to try a reinstall of the OS. And if you want to see that, just get back earlier into the video. Okay. Finish and initializing its driver database. This is where it started blue screening. And now the mouse refuses to work. I bet your Linux lovers would be going, oh yeah, just do Linux. Well, alright, I'm trying to think of possible solutions. We can see if it wants a PCMCIA card in there. It'll have wireless, which that might only cause more issues than it's worth. Yeah, no dip. Okay, so it does show that it does have connection. Fatal exception 0D has occurred. Is this RAM bad? sure hope it's not. Because I don't have much RAM. But we're about to find out, I guess. Okay, for anyone who tries to steal my Windows XP key, for the brief second that I had it on camera, I will kill you. In a very inhumane way. Because you guys would never be pirates, would you? First, we would always remove the batteries so that way we don't cause shorts. You guys get a nice hand shot. There we go. This is extremely awkward for me. If one of the RAM sticks in this is bad, I'm being mad. Okay. We've got a Samsung one. And a generic one. It's probably the generic one that's got the issue. Because Samsung is pretty reputable. I mean, I've got a Samsung SSD in my desktop, and I preferred that over anything else. Over the Crucial in my new laptop, over the SanDisk in my previous laptop that I'll probably be getting. Yeah, Samsung is pretty reputable, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's the, like, third-party looking guy. 256 megs. Yeah, this is generic, like there's no labeling, no. In fact, I didn't really get a look at what the other Samsung RAM sticks look like. And I might be able to test this in a different laptop altogether. Let's see. So they're both 256 megs, which is kind of small. I'll be honest. But, you know, with these old laptops, a gig was just too expensive. Or so I'm told. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it was a RAM thing. Oh, and it just starts up automatically. Okay. It's probably not going to like that sudden RAM change. Okay. You don't need to scan disk. Okay, cursor's working. Initializing its driver database. Off she goes. If it's the Samsung stick, then I will be surprised if it's third party. That third party works better than main brand. Because it looks like some memory addressing, I'll be honest. But no, you can never tell these kinds of things. Okay. I mean, the warranty on this is long since gone. This is pretty warm. Maybe it was the Samsung. I don't know. No, I refuse to believe it's Samsung until it's proven. As I failed to put this in. What the hey? I'm pretty surprised if I just damaged it. Yeah, you couldn't see 90% of that because I intentionally left it off camera because it wasn't anything big. Okay, it's 98. Might actually be because I didn't let ScanDisk finish. Well, it seems pretty quick anyway, so I'd just let it go through that. Just used to doing such. And the brightness on this seems kind of dark. Plug 0E. Okay, so if we get an error message about 0E, we get this. If we get an error message about 0D, is there a RAM test on this? Okay, setup. Don't want that to entering setup. Okay. So it does successfully okay. So the CMOS battery is surprisingly still working. You know what? I'm making an executive decision. If Windows 98 can run on 16 megs of RAM, then the onboard should be more than enough, because that's enough of an offset. If this blows up, you guys see it first. That RAM door really heats up. Might need to get another laptop, which would be annoying. So we're booting with 0 RAM in it, except the onboard stuff. Because this was at a time period where there was onboard RAM. What I said what was on board was technically called conventional memory and maxes out at 640 kilobytes. My thinking was I was looking at what I was looking at in the video was I was looking at internal hard disk and not noticing that that wasn't changing. So I was thinking, okay, so if there's 256 megs of RAM plus an additional 256 megs of RAM, that must mean that there's more than enough onboard memory. So in the future, when you hear the laptop just beeping, it's because even if it had conventional memory, it would have maxed out at 640 kilobytes of memory. Look at this picture. It helps illustrate it. Conventional memory is anywhere from 0 to 640 kilobytes. Let's take a look at the system requirements for Windows 98. 16 megs of RAM recommended. 16 megs of RAM minimum. 24 recommended. But it is possible to run on 8 megs. The lowest option, 8 megabytes, is still higher than the maximum conventional memory, which is 640 kilobytes. If you're to look more at the conventional memory, the 640 kilobyte barrier is an architectural limitation of IBM and IBM PC compatible PCs. So, in other words, some computers did come with what I call onboard memory, but is technically called conventional memory. It's really all it is it's a limitation. And on top of that, it becomes harder and harder to actually install memory, because again, going back to this picture, conventional memory, which previously on IBM PCs, it was the best that you could get was like 640 kilobytes of memory. What this graph is saying is that UMA memory, that's another thing I'll have to Google up on, maxes out at 1 megabyte. And then extended memory goes anywhere from 16 megabytes, which is the minimum for Windows 98, all the way up to 4 gigs of RAM. So, while what I do say is technically right, there was onboard memory, especially if you look at like the Packard Bell 100 CD Legend 100 CD motherboard or whatever it was. There are some motherboards that I can confirm had onboard memory, but it maxed out at 640K. So now there's just this gray area of what is and what isn't considered onboard memory. This specific laptop didn't have onboard memory, as I figured out from the beeps, but it just becomes this entire gray space. This is why I work with Windows NT stuff. Oh, so just to correct my correction, this is also not to be confused with some like laptop manufacturers or some computer manufacturers that solder their memory onto their computers. Apple, I'm looking at you. There are also other companies that do such a thing for their like laptops. That is different from conventional memory, which I mistakenly call onboard memory. And while trying to do the 5 minutes of research, I called the conventional memory the extended memory. So this is an entire gray space, but as I'm realizing, this is going to probably end off this episode of the Noob tries to install Windows 98. Like 6-part, 7-part? I don't even know at this point. Oh my god. This is honestly just so good. This is a gray space in computing because there's conventional memory, which maxes out at 640K, but mostly came with significantly less than that. IBM computers maxed out at 640K memory max, regardless of the situation. And to make matters worse, some computer manufacturers are soldering their memory onto their computer, which people will think that it's conventional memory. So I probably confused you guys. I know I've confused myself, but